Hi, I'm Zeldasmatic, and in this guide I will be covering Pokemon stats. Specifically, I will be focusing on IVs, EVs, and, for a short time, base stats. I will do my best to simply and efficiently explain these values and how they're different. IVs, EVs, and base stats are the building blocks for a Pokemon's final stat values. IVs stand for individual values, and EVs stand for effort values. Pokemon of the same species have the same set of base stats. It gives you a general idea of that Pokemon's strengths and weaknesses. When a Pokemon evolves, the base stats usually change for the better. Base stats range from 1 to 255. First and foremost, IV stands for individual value. IVs, unlike base stats, are different for individual Pokemon, hence individual value. A Pokemon's IV determines how quickly or slowly that stat will grow. IVs cannot be changed without a hacking device. A Pokemon's IV in any given stat can range between 0 and 31. Two Charmander with the same everything except IVs at level 100 will have completely different stats. Without hacking or RNG, the only way to really control IVs in-game aside from soft resetting is through breeding. One parent holding a power item will pass the corresponding IV to its offspring. Having two parents hold a power item will cause the game to randomly choose between the two IVs. If you'd like more information regarding this process, please click the link on screen. Fortunately, there are ways to check your IVs in-game. The listed IV judges will not give you specific numbers, but might help give you a general idea of your Pokemon's IVs. You can also use an online IV calculator if your Pokemon are a high enough level. IVs also determine the type and in Gen 5 power of the move Hidden Power. Thankfully, we don't have to rely on this formula because there are in-game hidden power checkers. In a nutshell, EVs or effort values are points gained towards stats when a Pokemon participates in battle. Thankfully, there are many other ways to obtain EVs. 4 EVs in a stat will equate to 1 stat point at level 100. Each Pokemon can have a maximum of 510 EVs at any given moment, with a maximum of 255 EVs in any one stat. Battling is the most basic way to get EVs. Each species of Pokemon has a predetermined number of EVs that they will give you when you defeat them in battle. For example, Patrat has 1 attack EV. Defeating a Patrat in battle would give your Pokemon 1 attack EV, but there are better ways to do it. For example, feeding a vitamin to your Pokemon will increase its EVs in that stat by 10. The downside is that this only works for the first 100 EVs. Wings will only give you 1 EV in the corresponding stat, but can be used until maxed out. Having your Pokemon hold a power item while battling will add 4 EVs to the listed stat, in addition to whatever is earned from battle. Infecting your Pokemon with Pokerus will double whatever EVs are earned in battle. Litwick would usually give 1 special attack EV, but with Pokerus it gives 2. Combine Pokerus with a power item and you can get 8 from the power item and double from whatever you fought in battle. This makes for a pretty efficient way to gain effort values. Super Training was added in X and Y. Super Training allows you to gain EVs by completing minigames. It means you don't have to actually enter battle to earn them. However, the most you can get from any rank is 12, so it's not as efficient as some other methods. But it works well enough early in the game. There are a few things you want to remember about EVs. First, any Pokemon affected by Experience Share will receive all of the EVs from battle. So, in Generation 5, whichever Pokemon is holding Experience Share will gain EVs. And in Generation 6, your entire team will if Experience Share is switched on. Second, the most efficient way to gain EVs in Generation 6 so far is Horde Battles plus Power Item plus Pokerus. Each Horde Battle gives 50 EVs this way. That's crazy talk. Third, you may have noticed that the maximum EVs for each Pokemon, 510, and for each stat, 255, is not divisible by 4. In Generation 6, you don't have to worry about it. The game automatically will cut you off at 252 for any one stat, but it's good to still keep track of what you're earning, especially if you plan on EV training in Generation 5. Let's say you accidentally put the wrong EVs in the wrong place. It's not a big deal. One stat reducing berry will reduce the EVs in that stat by 10, and in Generation 6, a reset bag will wipe your slate clean. How can you tell if you've maxed out your EVs? Well, it's different for different generations. Finally, keep in mind that nature still plays a role in the final stats of Pokémon. The stronger stat will gain 10%, while the weaker stat will lose 10%. Here is the final equation for determining a Pokémon's stats, but no one is really expecting you to know this. Hopefully this guide answered most, if not all, of your questions regarding Pokémon stats. If you have any questions regarding this or any of my other guides, don't hesitate to ask me in the comments or on Twitter @Zeldasmatic. Remember that there are lots of great resources out there at your disposal. And yes, I made the base stats charts myself, but they were inspired by Bulbapedia. And as always, thanks for watching.